Welcome, traveler. My name is Winkari, and this is The Journey, a Guild Wars 2 podcast. A cozy stop along the road where we share adventures, stories, and the latest news and updates as we reflect on the world of Tyria. Pull up a chair, warm yourself by the fire, and let's begin. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of The Journey. My name is Winkari. We have made it to 10 episodes. That's right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you being here on this, our 10th episode. We started out on October 28th, 2025, and originally began as a WoW podcast, for those of you who may be new. Yet here we are. Today is Thursday, March 5th, 2026, and in this episode 10, we will be talking about my experience through Metrica Province and Rata Sum. A few life updates for you. My family hosted a Lord of the Rings movie night, a movie potluck night to be more specific, and it was a lot of fun. We had some friends over. We told them to prepare anything Lord of the Rings inspired food or drink wise, and we watched the extended edition of The Fellowship of the Ring because I have actually only seen the original movies when they came out and never the extended edition. So in many ways it was like watching them brand new. It was a lot of fun, enjoyed that. Also in the sports world, Major League Soccer has started up. Go Chicago Fire. The MLB is starting up very soon. Go Cubs. I've also been continuing to read The Ghosts of Ascalon, the first Guild Wars book they wrote before Guild Wars 2 came out. And it's a really fun read. I like to read this on my Kindle as I'm nodding off to sleep. And I will say there's some cool tie-ins, not only reading about the locations that are in-game, but the main character, at least thus far in the first few chapters, is Douglas Keene. And when I went through Rata Sum, they actually mentioned his name, which I thought was really, really cool. I also applied for the ArenaNet Partner Program. They just announced this. I'll be talking about this later in the episode, so everyone cross your fingers and toes and eyes and ears. Looking forward to hearing back from them. Also, there's some huge announcements coming up about the podcast at the end of this episode, so make sure you listen all the way through, particularly through the outro in the end. Let's jump into our first segment where I describe a location in-game, and you, the listener, have to discern, discover, deduce, where the heck are we broadcasting from? This segment is called Waypoint Unknown. So I'm standing on top of a windmill. But not just any old windmill or a normal, regular windmill, but one that has been broken down, stuffed into the top of a broken, burnt down, dilapidated building. And I'm standing at the very top of it, looking around, and there is green foliage, some mist, some Tamini warriors, piles of dirts, lost trinkets below. In the night sky behind me, in the background, I see Divinity's Reach, a beautiful silhouette against the dark clouds in the sky. And if I jump down below, I'm seeing another character actually engage Chick, the Windmill King. A hero challenge point with barrels, eggs, and metal bars scattered around. What's your guess, friendo? Your big telltale sign, of course, is Divinity's Reach in the background, but if you haven't guessed it by now, this is where we are. I am broadcasting from the region of Kryta, the zone of, you guessed it, Queensdale, but specifically at Skaver Plateau. It's essentially where the humans start out their kind of tutorial quest and defeat that big Modnir magician sorcerer dude and his big magical construction thingy. It's right nearby that, in case you're having trouble locating that on the map. There you have it, folks. That is today's Waypoint Unknown. Let's move on.
Any interesting news?
I have a couple of pieces of news to discuss with you today. First is Black Lion chests. If you're not familiar with these in-game yet, essentially these are items in-game that if you use a Black Lion key, provide RNG items in-game. And these can be found in-game by doing various things, but also purchased at the Black Lion Trading Company for gems. And ArenaNet has decided to disclose the odds of those items that you can get in Black Lion chests. You can find this online at guildwars2.com. Look in their articles of disclosure of odds. And this is generally how it works before we get into the specifics. You have a guarantee of 4 drops out of the total pool of items. 1 Black Lion statuette, 1 guaranteed item in the second slot. It varies each time the chest updates. And then 2 items in the common category, defined as the pool of items each with a 2.9 or higher percentage drop rate. Additionally, there is a 10% chance to get an additional 5th item drop, which draws exclusively from returning exclusive, new exclusive, uncommon, rare, and super rare pools. So, into the nitty-gritty. Number 1, returning exclusive have a 1.2% drop chance from that 5th slot. New exclusive has a 1.9% drop chance from the additional 5th slot. Uncommon items have a combined drop chance of 5% in general, but have a 0.22% to 1% drop chance from the additional 5th slot. Rare items in general have a combined drop chance of 1.8%. They have a 0.06 to 0.09 drop chance from that additional 5th slot. And super rare items have a combined drop chance in general of 0.04%, and in that 5th slot, a 0.006% drop chance. Again, you can read all about that, the specifics of it, at guildwars2.com. Our second piece of news I alluded to at the beginning of the episode, and that is the ArenaNet Partner Program. This is something that's been going on quite a while with the game, and essentially you can apply if you're some sort of content creator, currently and in the past, and this is what it says directly from their website. The ArenaNet Partner Program is our way of recognizing the talented creators who share their passion for Guild Wars and the world of Tyria. From streamers and video producers to fan artists, writers, and community organizers, our partners are ambassadors who inspire players and welcome new heroes every day. ArenaNet partners create content that entertains, educates, and connects the community. They host streams and events, produces guides and videos, craft stunning fan art, and help players discover everything Guild Wars has to offer. Their creativity keeps the world of Tyria thriving long after the credits roll. So, more specifics on your end if you become a partner, if you're accepted. This is some of the perks and benefits. You have early access to information for upcoming releases and events, opportunities to collaborate on special campaigns and community celebrations, recognition across official Guild Wars channels and events, direct communication with ArenaNet's community and development teams, and everyone loves this last one, some free merch and monthly gems. So, if this is something you are interested in doing, I did myself. The application process is actually very simple, very quick. Go to guildwars2.com. You can apply right now, but here's the catch. It is through March 17th. My understanding is they do this, they close it off for a while, then they open it up again, etc., etc. So this is your chance right now. If you are a content creator for Guild Wars 2, please go apply at guildwars2.com.
My time is precious.
We now turn to the calendar moving forward event-wise for the game. The first is Return to Janthir Wilds. This has been going on since the 24th of last month, and this is going on through March 10th, so just 5 days from this recording. Return to Janthir Wilds. You can complete specific achievements from Daily Return to Janthir Wilds and Return to Janthir Wilds. Players will receive in-game boost, Returning Hero Boost, which earns increased rewards in target maps during return events, 30% experience gain from all sources, and 50% magic find. So, if you haven't done that expansion yet, or have done it, this is a great incentive to go back and do so, and that is until March 10th. Next is Dungeon Rush. This is going on right now as well for the next 5 days until Tuesday, March 10th, and this is what the game says specifically. When you log in, you'll get a letter in the mail that says, Lion's Arch is all abuzz with tall tales from those alcoves of mystery and villainy known as dungeons. As your herald, I'm eagerly awaiting news of your own triumphs to share. A gathering point for would-be dungeon delvers has been arranged in Fort Mariner, so please meet me there. Signed, Lady Camilla, also giving you a single-use dungeon portal scroll. So, I actually did this. I went to the area, and I was either today years old or this is just for this event. I don't know, someone tell me. But at the very least, right now during this event, if you go to this area in Southern Lion's Arch, you can access every dungeon in the game in one location. That is pretty bomb.com. That is a pretty great quality of life thing. Anyway, to the specifics. Complete any dungeon path or any dragon response mission. Don't know what those are yet because I haven't done them myself. But you do those things, you complete achievements of Dungeon Rush, which will reward a total of 770 Tales of Dungeon Delving. And the final reward during the initial release of Dungeon Rush is a unique cape back item called the Wanderer's Expedition Cape. So essentially you get these currency of Tales of Dungeon Delving with a, I think, max total of 770, and then you can purchase this from her. And I actually haven't done the dungeons yet, but because I had played this game in the past, and the few dungeons I've done right now, I already had enough to purchase this darn thing, which is quite nice. I believe it was 500 Tales of Dungeon Delving, and I got the cape. Looks awesome. So check this out again through March 10th. That is our Dungeon Rush event. Similar to that, the following week, March 10th through the 17th, is PvP Rush. You'll also get something in the mail that says, Adventures in the world beyond Tyria, known as the Mist, there is an ancient arena of battle once tended by the Zaishen Order. Now the Zaishen would see it thrive again as a field of honor, unspoiled by worldly politics and strife. Those who crave the glory of the fray, meet us in Lion's Arch to learn more. Zephyra, Priestess of the Zaishen, also giving you a single-use Mist's Gate portal scroll. So, similar to this one, you complete various achievements related to playing standard PvP from the Player versus Player Rush category awards champion points, with more challenging achievements granting extra points. And these points are automatically consumed and progress the meta achievement PvP Rush Champion up to 100 points. And these are the tiers. Tier 1, 50 Shards of Glory. Tier 2, an envelope of PvP League tickets. Tier 3, Coffers of Ascended Shards of Glory. Tier 4, 50 Instant Reward Track Progress. Tier 5, Permanent Finisher Choice Box. Tier 6, 100 Shards of Glory. Tier 7, 2 envelopes of PvP League tickets. Tier 8, 2 Coffers of Ascended Shards of Glory. Tier 9, 100 Instant Reward Track Progress. And finally, Tier 10, Obsidian Weapon Box is your reward. So again, PvP Rush going on March 10th through the 17th, rather.
How are your endeavors progressing?
We now move to the Wizard's Vault and its Astral Rewards. There's two things I want to cover. First, there's a bonus week special objective to complete the Return to Janther Wilds achievement that rewards 150 Astral Acclaim, and that is until March 10th. So make sure you do that one. There's also a special objective the following week, the 10th through the 17th, to correspond with that PvP Rush. If you complete the PvP Rush Champion achievement, you also get 150 Astral Acclaim. Let's move on to the Lion's Share, a segment where we discuss everything Black Lion Trading Company.
I've got deals you won't believe.
Right now in-game is the Magical March sales. You can read about this at guildwars2.com, and essentially each week there's different sales going on in the Black Lion Trading Company. In week 2, which is right now, March 3rd until March 10th, mount skins, die kits, novelty items are all 25% off, and there's also a featured bundle called a Fashionistas Package. It says, we're kicking off our March sales with an amazing bundle tailored for all lovers of high Tyrian couture. This fashionable offer can be purchased once per account for 800 gems and contains a Black Lion outfit voucher, a Black Lion weapons voucher, Black Lion Cape voucher, and 5 guaranteed die unlocks. Week 3 is March 10th through the 17th, and you can get back piece skins, gliders, and chairs, all 25% off. And then the featured bundle is the Build and Equipment Template Bundle. And that one, also 800 gems, includes 2 build template expansions and 2 equipment template expansions. Again, different weeks, different discounts. So the next podcast episode we do, I'll be talking about the following couple weeks as well for the March discounts for you. Next is the Inverted Blade Wings Backpack and Glider Combo. Saw this one on social media. Strike a unique shadow as you fly with the Inverted Blade Wings Backpack and Glider Combo. These magnificent wings take on an ancient Mersat design and shine with an intricate, unique look. So imagine blade wings, or blades, or wings rather, and inverted. That's kind of what you see. You can find these on social media. That is available right now for 700 gems. We're now going to move on to one more segment before we jump into the bulk of our show. This is a brand new one. We're calling it Forum Find. This is a segment where we discuss something I find online in the forums, whether it's Reddit or Guild Wars 2, something that someone brings up that I thought would make for really a good discussion, good fodder for discussion.
Ideas are like cream. Good ones rise to the top.
So today's post comes to us from Beautiful Hour 668 on the Guild Wars 2 Reddit. This person asks the question, should ArenaNet include player voting in their expansion planning phase? Interesting. So essentially they're asking, should they include the player base when it relates to them planning for their expansions? You know, their feedback, their thoughts, their input, etc. So, interesting question. I generally lean no. I don't think they should, and that's for multiple reasons. Not all players use forums or the internet as much as the next person. So they're only going to get it from specific people that do, right? It's going to skew that way. Players also don't have all the information that devs do about the game, the future of it, the planning, the many various factors that go into their production of the game. The player base's relationship to the game is also that of a hobby, not a job like the developers. Because, again, they're not professional developers. So many things that they are maybe overlooking or not seeing that those developers do or have the foresight for. To go on top of that, I personally think players are often short-sighted, because that's just generally how we are. They don't have that huge macro focus that I think is very much needed in these types of persistent MMO games. And finally, every player has vastly different priorities and ways they play the game. So, in other words, you're just going to get lots of different perspectives from people that, again, are online, in forums, in Reddits, play the game a certain way, and not necessarily, in my opinion, a cross-section of all those different people's and their priorities and the ways they play the game. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem if they did it and then communicated that they would only take the voting into consideration, not the rule. But again, I think that would be hard, because the second you put that out there and then they don't do the thing that everyone votes on, then they look bad, like they're not listening, right? It's kind of a lose-lose in my mind. Or maybe another option is maybe they just do regular polling on various things they're considering as like a constant flow of feedback rather than just like one every expansion. And I think one way we see them do that is actually in the Guild Wars 2 forums currently. They have a quality of life thread that they do, I think, every year. Things like that, right? So, what about you? What do you think? Comment on an episode, on our social media, or you can send me an email. All of the above. Would love to hear what you think. Let's move on to our main bulk of the show, our Tales of Tyria.
I have so much to tell you.
So as we move on with the game chronologically, let's do a little bit of a recap, because I know in our last episode we had that redo. If you haven't watched that one, or listened to it rather, please go back and do so. But let's get us caught up so we understand where we're at in the story and in the world and in the game. Created a human warrior, played it through the Harathi hinterlands, through chapter 4 of the personal story, and then I restarted a human guardian, and instead of doing the Order of Secrets, did the Derman Priory, worked through chapter 5 of the personal story. But as it relates to the zones, Harathi Hinterlands is the last one that I did. And instead of moving on to the Bloodtide Coast, I stopped. I surveyed all the different zones in Corteria, and I made a decision. Instead of moving on and just doing my zones as a human, my personal story, moving on and skipping over all those other zones, I made the decision to go and do all of the zones in Corteria. And there's a very specific reason I'm doing that. It's because of the story. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm a huge story, a huge lore, I'm a huge chronological guy. So for me, this is kind of like a movie series or a TV series. If someone says, hey, jump into this movie or book in the series or this many seasons in, I go, nope, I need to start from the beginning. I need to see all how it happened and mapped out. That's the analogy here. So this is what we're doing moving forward. I'm going to go through each race's zones until they converge, and then do the ones that they do together. So for example, I have learned that the Silvari and the Asura both share some pretty similar zones moving up to Bloodtide Coast, and that's where they converge with the humans. Similarly, we'll look at the Char and the Norn as well, do theirs, see where they converge, and then when they all converge to these kind of shared zones moving forward, like Bloodtide Coasts, then we will do each of those moving forward and go back to our personal story. If you're still with me, what that means is I jumped on over to the Asura starting zone of Metrica Province. A very interesting zone. Again, completed Harathi Hinterlands, moved over to this one, and the very first area is Sorin Dra. It starts right outside Rata Sum, and there's a cavern right tucked away in the beginning part with a character named Chot, who needs opals from embers to power his golem. I gather a bunch of those. Afterward, he takes that same golem to this battle arena, kind of like the rocket socket, toys from the 80s, 90s. To this battle arena where they take on the aeronautics school, and they win. Next, I came across a robot called Del X99. This was a very interesting, long, drawn-out thing that ArenaNet did. It's this little robot that essentially scurries. The best way I would describe this robot is if you've seen the movie WALL-E, and they get to the point where they get to the spaceship, and it's this little tiny robot that cleans up the area and all the dirt. That's what this reminds me of. It basically goes and just zooms to all the different schools and all the different leaders of those schools and kind of brings responses and gossips and accusations. And that goes on for about 10 straight minutes. I mean, that's some deep, deep diving if you want to go do it. Yes, I'm a nerd. I did all of that. There's tons of dialogue in there if you want to listen to that one yourself. Next, Technician Penn tells me that the zone is filled with private laboratories and that there's interference from the Inquest, who is envious of their advances and covet their research materials. Okay, so we're learning about kind of their bad guys, their bad guy version of the regular Asura. One of my favorite areas in Sorindra is the Splorg Metamystics Lab. This is a place I come across next, where the young progeny learn before they join a particular lab, kind of a school of sorts. And what happens is lots of things continue to go wrong in their lecture hall, and you have to save the students from these multiple disasters going on. And in between the lessons, they talk about that. But then they also do the, your mama's so ... They do your mama's IQ is so low jokes. Hilarious. I mean, go and listen to a bunch of those, especially when they end with them inevitably actually complimenting on how actually smart their mothers are. Nice little touch by ArenaNet. Really enjoyed that area. I came across next a place called the Opticalium, and it had this dynamic event where the Inquest attacked, so you first kind of see them entering the story intentionally there. And this area leads me to today's Dear ArenaNet, a section where we write a ye-old letter to ArenaNet about something that should be improved, iterated on, removed. Essentially my take on some critical feedback for the game. Dear ArenaNet, as I first happened upon the Opticalium in Metrica Province, I began talking to the locals. Seconds into this engagement, a dynamic event started and the Inquest attacked. As part of this organic living world, I engaged and defeated them until they gave up and ran away, effectively completing the Renown Heart for that area. Afterward, I went to the Renown Heart Giver, but I was no longer able to engage the original dialogue that character had after I had completed the Renown Heart. To me, this is a broken system because the player loses out on dialogue, exposition, and most importantly, world-building storytelling about the game they are immersing themselves in. So to me, here's a simple fix. Bring back the original Renown Heart Giver's dialogue even after we complete them. Because once they're gone forever. And to me, that's quite a shame that can be solved with this one simple fix. Sincerely, Winkari. As I moved on from the Renown Heartgiver, I spoke with Opticalium leader Zeb, who tells me that the Inquest want to steal their genius and twist it to their evil ends. I later happened upon the PR&T Esoterics Lab, and there a researcher tells me that senior researcher Taka founded the lab when her and her soul partner were celebrating their graduation from the College of Synergetics with a picnic down by the water, when he decided to surprise her with a bouquet of colorful oozes he saw under a tree. But before Taka could cry out, the oozes attacked him, enveloped him, digested him, and excreted him like ants at a picnic, only worse. That's what it says. To deal with her loss, she dedicated her life to the study of oozes, hoping to find useful applications for them. Which explains why the Renown Heart has me fight colorful oozes in that area. Nice little world building there, right? Later at the Dorado Ground, which is just a little north from there, I learned that the Inquest is using Hylic poison for their nefarious deeds, turning wildlife into slavering beasts. At a nearby Inquest lab, Shun tells me that there's something valuable here, and that I need to keep them away while we retrieve it, and that he'll even share it with me. Next, the Inquest appear and kidnap a crew. I enter that lab, which is comically named the Funhouse, and rescue them from prison and help them escape by destroying the lab, defeating the leader there, and as they leave, the crew leader tells me she kept something from the lab. So I go back to the camp, and she sells that item to me. It's a golem in a box, which launches a mini golem rocket at enemies. Nice little touch. Next, I headed to the Veloxian Passage, where researcher Harappa tells me that the Brill Alliance is studying Skrit behavior. And I learned that Skrit have hive mind intelligence. Basically, alone they're dumber than rocks, but the more that there are, the smarter that they are. Nearby, I happened upon Decider Atom, or Decider Atom, home of the largest gathering of skilled craftsmen outside of Rata Sum, kind of smack in the center of the southern portion of Metrica Province. I come across an Asuran called the Fox, which is just standing there at the entrance, and apparently he's one of 6 Pack Supply network agents. They're special karma merchants that are made available by training the 3rd level of the Pact Commander Mastery Supply Line Management. So if you do that, you can engage these. Unlocking Tyrian Masteries requires a Guild Wars 2 expansion, if you're not already aware, and there are 6 merchants in total, 1 per region of Tyria, and each of them rotates, moving to a different location every day. Additionally, you can only purchase 1 item from each vendor per day. They sell 3 items: a torn page from the Tyrian Pack Survival Handbook, which gives you a rare crafting recipe, that's the one I chose, packed souls, Pact Souls mapping materials. Pact Scouts mapping materials, rather, which grants map bonus reward points for your current map when in Central Tyria, and a random recipe from many different recipes. Next, I visited Dr. Blint's encampment. This is where this dude's essentially obsessed with studying the ooze. But when he gives his ooze booze, as he calls it, to an ooze, that sounds like a cat in the hat, I have to kill a bunch of them, and then he sells that boozy, oozy alcohol beverage as a reward. It sounds like a dance, the oozy boozy. Everybody do the oozy boozy. But I digress. Senior investigator Haruto nearby tells me that his experiments are damaging the local ecology and that I can pick up a protest sign, which you can, and I did. He says that Bleat used to be respected until he started calling himself a doctor without the training. Considering current political climates, I'm not even going to comment. Nearby, I came across a really fun dynamic event. Lem and Yerk are two characters walking through the caves of the Serpent Wind, recruiting dim-witted Skrit to do an experiment. Back at the lab, after we gathered them all, they put them all together to see if their intelligence increases, and at first they play dumb. But then, joke's on us, they prove they're super smart, they take over the lab, and we have to rescue the crew from the Skrit's takeover, which I thought was really cool. Next, I came across Agent Emmy, who tells me that Calx is an Asura nearby whose research laid the groundwork for modern Asura gating. His lab was lost until Parna discovered an ancient sealed gate. But she's afraid that the gate will lead to her lost lab. Calx lost control of his discovery, causing a fissure to open in the ground, pouring destroyers in and driving the Asura above ground. And he's afraid that opening the gates will release those destroyers. Weirdly enough, part of the Renown Heart is to collect those gate pieces for Parna to open it, but okay. I gather those pieces, the Skrit attack, while we build that gate, and then enter. Inside, I collect a bunch of data crystals, I fend off Destroyer and oozes. She turns on the console, but defensive golems attack. I defeat them, and as we escape, the tunnel breaks down after we leave. The ending was a bit anticlimactic. I would have liked to have seen more or gotten more lore bits in this dynamic event. I looked at the wiki to see if I was missing anything, and apparently if you don't leave the lab right away, obsidian destroyers spawn and kill you. So I literally went back, did the whole dynamic event again, went in, and sure enough, there's like 24 obsidian destroyer trolls, and they wreck your face. True story. Nearby, I happen upon Old Ula Lab, a really cool set piece in this zone. At the entrance, it has a holo projector that serves as a hero challenge, where Ula pops out as a hologram saying that I've triggered a tutorial. They tell me that they conduct dangerous experiments in here combining necromancy and golemancy, and is on the verge of creating a new kind of golem that creates life from death. At the end, she asked me to see if I was paying attention to what they said, and you have to answer these questions. Of course, I got wrong, and I had to do it a few times until I did get it right, and got that hero point. Next, researcher Oral, as a dynamic event, shows up, wants to explore the lab, and I join the party. But when you get to the door of that lab, you need an energy crystal which drops from enemies, so after fighting a few and it didn't drop, thankfully I realized you can just buy one from the trading post. So if you guys come across this, just buy it, much easier. Once you go inside, you fight off golems until you reach at the very end Ula's ghost, where we learn that Ula died and bound herself to her golem, which we defeated the ghost of. Researcher Oral steals some stuff, runs out of the cave, and sells kind of this pretty worthless item for karma, which was kind of a letdown. And after this, I decided to go back into the lab and flip on all these holo projectors and notes that they had that you don't really have time to do as you're doing the dynamic event. And some of them described discrediting Zin and fulfilling the promise to orchestrate the greatest miscarriage of justice in Asura history. I was very curious about this. So I looked up her character in the wiki, and learn that she was a Guild Wars 1 character, which leads us to today's Echoes of Tyria.
Knowledge is the greatest treasure.
When I looked up Ula in the wiki, this is what I found. It says Ula was aware of her own abilities and, like many Asura, got frustrated when others disturbed her research. To that end, she squirreled herself away where she could work in peace. She had a few assistants and welcomed no visitors, treating them all as inferiors and interlopers. Her security measures were said to be among the finest, and her fierce ability to keep her haven safe gained the respect of many of her peers, and more than a few attempted infiltrations, all of which ended poorly. She had a bitter relationship with Zin, her former apprentice, who became sole researcher and rival Golemancer. This rivalry led to Zin burning Ula's books in public and caused Ula to plot revenge in response. By 1078 AE, Ula had found the ruins of the Iron Forgeman in Sorrow's Furnace and was attempting to replicate it. When the destroyer spilled up from the bowels of the earth, she was persuaded to build a mobile spellworking platform in the battle against the Great Destroyer. A year later, she bribed the rest of the Arcane Council to exile her former apprentice, the sole researcher and rival Golemancer Zin, for a decade. Another former apprentice of hers, Blim, joined Zin in exile. Before her death, it seems that Ula was able to finally combine the secrets of Golemancy and Necromancy, creating a line of golems that could tap into the power of life and death. In a bid to increase her power and control, she tied her very essence to the core of her golem, the Ul-99L. With her death, her ghost continues her work in the old Ula lab. And there you have it. Today's Echoes of Tyria. Moving on, I headed north and came across a dynamic event where an Asura was headed to Quado Moras to take back the area from the Hylic. After defeating them, their leader came out and we downed him. Nearby, I found a hole in the wall that led me to this mini jumping puzzle that then brought me to a floating platform in the sky that had a portal on it, one of those Asura gates. And it took me to what's called the Windy Station, according to the golem that was next to it. And the place it teleported me was a jumping puzzle way up in the sky. I mean, absolutely insane set piece. Go to my social media. I recorded a video of what it looks like to just start out this jumping puzzle. There is 4 different sections that get progressively higher and higher in the sky with themes for wind, ice, thunder. It's got environmental effects like pushing you off the ledges of floating ground, branches, until you finally reach Gome's lab at the top, and there you defeat Gome the Mad and you get your magnificent chest. It is by far my favorite jumping puzzle in the game. It was such a great experience, really made me feel like I was escaping into a fantasy universe, which is exactly what I like about this game. Please go do this one, just fantastic. Afterward, I came across Michoan Marsh and talked to Cook Whalik. He tells me that he can't cook because supplies have been raided by the Quaddle. I helped escort one of them and completed the Renown Heart, and nearby entered the Biocauldron Alchemics Lab. The inquests litter the area. There's a cage guarding a chest with a console nearby that says to access the bunker, we've had to pull power from a golem arm. Okay. So I go further in. There's these inquest data consoles, after defeating more inquests, of course. And the first says, Injuries log. Everything needs to be bigger. What would you get if you mixed large with Asura? You'd get amazing. Ploynt is a genius. He just doesn't know it yet. His growth hormone is absolutely brilliant. It's a good thing that no one can read this, because now I can take full credit of it. The third one says, shouldn't I be encrypting these? After all, everyone covets my brilliance. I'll do it after lunch. It's sure to be a life-changing experience. after you do those, you actually have the opportunity to kill a veteran golem who, lo and behold, drops one of his arms. You bring it back, use that arm on the locked magical cage, and it opens up. But that's not all. I go to loot the Inquest chest, and instead of giving me my prize, my loot, Indri shows up. And Indri is way bigger than the normal Asura. Huge, huge, huge head. Defeat them, and then I'm able to loot the chest. Again, love this kind of mini dungeon, so to speak. Hope they do more of this stuff throughout the game. Next came across Old Flamin' Lab, which is locked from the outside. Old Flamin' Lab. But I was able to use the Springer mount and jump over the door, but there was nothing inside, so I'm thinking that's probably part of a personal story quest. Moving on, I found some Aqua Limit researchers being held captive by the crate in an underwater cave. And after freeing them and returning them back to their research crew, their leader doesn't apologize for leaving them there, which kind of stinks. He does, however, provide an aquatic elixir for purchase that gives you a 20% chance to gain swiftness on a kill, which I think could be very helpful for underwater combat, just so you know where that is. Next at Griefern Expanses, I happen upon a medical triage camp. Gliga says there's rogue magic floating free all over the place, turning things upside down and inside out. The nearby Thermonova reactor's immediate area could no longer contain its mass and exploded, injuring people. He thinks the Inquest is to blame, and Refugee Glint says that some died and others were turned into fish. Suddenly, the Inquest show up out of nowhere. They do a surprise attack. We fend them off, but they say that some of the people have been taken to the lab. So, I take a portal nearby to the inner part of the reactor and destroy their nodes, freeing their prisoners, and they decide to take the reactor core, and upon taking the portal, we escort a golem who transports it while fending off Inquest to ambush us along the way. It was a fun little quest, but it really didn't have any payoff at the end. So, fun, could have been better, is what it is. I next traveled east to Artagon Woods and spoke to researcher Aj. He tells me his crew maintains the power plant in its conduit tower but has some problems. I travel further southeast to the Luminates plant, and Zap says that they harness enough arcane energy to power 12 laboratories, and that they're also powering a prototype for the next Rata Sum. If you go to the basement of the lab, you can actually see a prototype of that proposed new city, and further back, you find the generator where you commune to get a hero point, but don't leave just yet, because when you're done with communing and getting that hero point, it gives you the option to convert 25 quartz crystals into a charged quartz crystal once a day. Don't know what it's for just yet, but just know that's what you can do there. At Hexane Regrade, Peacemaker Auda tells me that the Inquest pursue their experiments in their fortress nearby, trying to harness soul energy and to try to help those that are captive become free. I do, of course, do that, and later I come across Engineer Walla, who wants golem parts to make a hazmat suit, so I collect all these parts. She goes back to her lab, creates these hazmat suits that can help clean up the local reactor, but doesn't do anything more than that. It's a little weird that the dynamic event didn't just keep continuing. Also at her field lab is Ruba's assistant, and the Clean 5000, this golem nearby, is this remarkable golem, but she says that she's worried that Ruba cares for it too much. She says that Ruba talks to it like another Asura and would give her life for it. Ruba, standing nearby, says that entire jungle is threatened since Thermonova went critical, and that hopefully their cleanup golems can contain the chaos magic, which kind of leads us into the next area, right? She says Thermonova used to be an Inquest facility, and when its reactor core melted down, it contaminated the area with chaos magic. Little background. So, as I enter Thermonova, there's an injured researcher at the entrance lying on the ground. He tells me to watch my step. He also said it used to be a city, but the Inquest had a lab buried deep beneath it conducting powerful research there. So, I complete the Renowned Heart by cleaning up the reactor, killing mobs, and while doing so, I found these little elemental chargers scattered around that wanted me to insert something into them. Which leads me to today's Hidden in Plain Sight.
How interesting.
In this segment, I discuss anything that is maybe overlooked easily in the game, something that is secretive, or as the title says, hidden in plain sight. So what happened here was that when I couldn't figure out what to do next, I of course consulted the wiki. And if you find yourself in this reactor, what you need to do is go to one of the 4 areas, ice, water, earth, and fire, and look for a small matrix cube that randomly spawns in different areas. And once you eventually find one, which I did, you take it to those 3 elemental chargers to charge it. After that, you have to wait until the Thaumanova reactor Fallout meta event starts, which is every 2 hours. Once it starts, you escort Ruba and Clean 5000 rather, to clean up the reactor, ending in the fire area, which all of this is stuff that I did. This summons a fire elemental boss, and right before it was summoned, one of the leaders in the map said to everyone there, because there was a bunch of us, to stack in one area to make the event, quote, go faster. And to be honest, I politely asked in the chat why going faster was a priority. And one of them replied, well, because we've been doing the same event for over 10 years. Which I understood, but I did reply, but what about new players? And there was no reply. So, the boss spawned, we fought it off as one giant Zergfest, and this is where that matrix cube comes into place. You have to click on the fallen golem to charge it one last time with the fire element. Afterward, you have to rush to the center of the reactor, put the cube into that panel device, it opens up, you jump into it, and it takes you to a platform high above where you fight a misplaced steam ogre. It's awesome, it's epic, you're above everything, and it's lightning all over the place. Unfortunately, people moved so fast that by the time I got up there, he was already killed. Sad panda. Fortunately, I had killed this in the past. I had already gotten the achievement that goes along with that, but please remember this if you do want to do it in the future. I actually did end up waiting to do it one more time just to experience it, but please remember these steps because at least one person needs this charged matrix cube to be able to access the area, or you can't go up there and do that part as well. There it is, that is today's Hidden in Plain Sight. So, that was the culminating part of the zone in Metrica Province, and boy did I love it. My overall verdict, the zone itself started a little slow, if I'm honest, at Asuran Draw, but once I got out into the wilds, that's where it got literally and figuratively magical for me. It took off. There's so much whimsy and magic that really reminded me that I was in a high fantasy environment. This zone does an incredible job focusing on lore and having stories to each area of the zone. It's just very intentional, you know? It also has a narrative that's cohesive, and it builds to that Thaumanova reactor, which was just icing on the cake and really shows when Guild Wars 2 is at its best. My favorite parts were old Ula's lab, the Golem's lab jumping puzzle, of course, and the Thaumanova reactor. My least favorite parts are probably the Hylic areas, if I'm honest, but overall, I would give it a grade of an A. So instead of moving on to the next zone right away, I decided to go to Rata Sum instead. I want to actually cover the cities and not just the regular zones. So the capital city of the Asura, Rata Sum, is where I went. The first place I went in there was through the Asura Gate to the Idea Incubation Lab. Once you're there, there's this bridge that heads into an area, but there's some diving goggles, which you can grab, and of course I promptly jumped into the water below. I saw that there was a dam nearby, swam to it, but when I tried jumping over it, It brought me to a loading screen, and then I was promptly thrown in jail. True story, and then you have to waypoint out of it. Went back to the Idea Incubation Lab, and in front of this building, there's a Flax compound gate guard who's standing in front and says that the area is off limits and that Master Flax is busy at work and cannot be bothered without an appointment. So I'm assuming this is personal story related, but I thought, is there a way that I can get around it? There is. I was able to bypass the area by using my Springer mount. Jumped up the top, went around to a balcony, was able to go on their side. Unfortunately, there's not really anything going on. There's just a bunch of citizens standing around that have nothing interesting to say. But I was pleasantly surprised to learn that you can glide down to the next area nearby that you can see in the distance, called Dawnside Quay. Nazi is at the end of the dock there and confirms that they let pirates dock there as long as they behave themselves because they bring gold and goods, providing a, quote, win-win situation. Interesting. So they'll basically work with whomever, as long as it's financially good for them. We learn about the Asuran. Nearby, I'm also surprised to see that the Inquest have an area there. They pretty much congregate in the Rata Sum Port Authority office, which is interesting. In Anti-Dawn Anchorage, there's a fishmonger nearby who has fishing supplies, and I unfortunately can't access them because I don't have the expansion for fishing yet, so someplace I will have to return to. There's also an NPC named Ernst, who's at the end of the docks. It says if he could sail anywhere, it would be the Sea of Desperation. A sea locked on all sides by ice, but is nowhere to be found on the map or on the wiki. I checked, so maybe a future expansion? Captain Ukavi, another NPC there, who's found on one of the docked ships, says that once outside the far reaches of Sorrow's Bay, she saw such an abhorrent monstrosity, a horrendous demon ship, all ragged sails and jagged edges, ascending from the depths like death itself was coming after them. Foreshadowing? Next, I take the portal to the Snaff Memorial Lab, and when I talk to one of the droids and ask about Zoja's mentor, Snaff, it gets prepared to destroy me if I keep asking questions. Okay, a little secretive. On a nearby research table, it says that someone is researching destroyers and that project is progressing poorly. And another researcher table says that oddly shaped power crystals stand out, so I'm sure that all means something eventually. The next portal I take brings me to the Applied Development Lab, which is apparently the home instance for Asura characters. And I first talked to Mechanist Nin, who apparently can provide some in-game perks if you bring them a bunch of various items. He says he's with the Peacemakers, who guard Rata Sum and the surrounding areas, and also works on golem deployment. He also tells me that the early series golems were the ones that held off the destroyers and built their cities, but there wasn't too much else of note in this instance other than there being a random unopened bandit chest lying around that I was able to open. But again, I think this makes sense because I'm not an Asura, and I'm assuming there's more if I were an Asura. At the College of Dynamics, I talked to Dynamics expert Zippy, and when she learns that I'm with the Priory, she asks if I can keep a secret. How cool is that? She says that she's discovered something really interesting while studying Rata Sum's history. There is speculation that the original ministers were appointed in order to keep them busy, while others attempted to surpass their work. The College of Dynamics is also the location for today's Tyrian transmission.
Cannot parse message. Please restate.
My latest invention is a process through which dust transforms into potable water.
Technically, a process is not an invention, but a discovery.
My next invention will be a closure system for your oral orifice.
A closure system for your oral orifice. I'm going to have to use that sometime when I want to burn someone. I don't know. That is your Tyrian transmission, if you haven't already figured it out. That's a segment where we play something in-game, audio-wise, dialogue-wise, that just stands out. Hope you enjoyed that one. Next, at the College of Synergetics, I spoke with Archivist Grep. He tells me the archives are only for citizens of Rata Sum. However, once again, when I tell him I'm with the Priory, he gives me special access. I really love that they do this. Unfortunately, the only interesting bit of information was that when I asked about Snaf dying, he says that the file has been almost completely redacted by Zoja, with access denied to all but her. The only answer he gives is that Snaf died, quote, tragically. But to be honest, at this point in the story, I don't even know who Snaf is, except from Codicus's manner when I talked to Zoja, where she said that she'd tracked some of Snaf's creations back to there, suspects Uzalon, Snaf's her old master, a great Asuran inventor, and some of his old golem plans were stolen by humans, so I'm sure there's more to be found later in the game. As I continue to explore the city at the Creator Commons, I talked with Vaka, a consortium officer, and she says I can get champion marks from defeating champions around Central Tyria during a special in-game event called Champion Rush, and trading them in for bonus boxes of goods. Good to know, log that away. Next, I teleport up to the council level at the top, and Counselor Zudo says that none of them really want to be on the council. They're the ones left to obsess over minutia while everyone else explores the world, which kind of coincides and corroborates what I learned earlier, right? After this, I went lower into Rata Sum, into the Statics Union, where I came across the Polymach Atrium with a gate that's being worked on by Reg, who tells me it isn't functional yet, and I think, if my memory serves, that this might be one of the promised mini-games that ArenaNet had when launching that never unfortunately came to fruition. After I went down to the lowest level of Rata Sum, I looked out one of the windows and noticed that there was actually a bloodstone sliver on the side of the city wall. Like, what are the odds, right? This is why it pays to look around, folks. After climbing up there and picking it up, it says, quote, "This sliver hit the side of Rata Sum," and then my character replies with, "I'm surprised it didn't set off security alarms." So, log that away. At the Inquest recruiting station, which again shows the Inquest are present, I talked to Fark. He says that the Inquest are an acknowledged part of their society. They even have a seat on the Arcane Council. Quote, "They must have paid someone well." So, what did I think? Overall, I think the city's design aesthetically perfectly encapsulates what a city would look like if it were built by the Asurans coming up from the underground. There are breathtaking views, interesting geometric design structures, and this overall a visually stunning city, especially when looking at it, zoomed out or from afar. However, it is disappointing that there are a lot of unfinished or unused areas. If you look on the map, areas like Riven Valley, Magus Valley, and the Elephant in the Room, the Polymach arenas, which I tried flying to, can't have access to. That's kind of underwhelming. I also didn't like how in many of the areas that do exist, there really isn't much substance to them. Like, for example, in the ports, the Arcane Council, and particularly the second tier below that's filled with a lot of Asura, but not much to say. I also think they missed out an opportunity to have some sort of lore or Easter egg stuff at the bottom of the city. If you look way down there, you can actually jump down to where it's kind of burgeoning up from the ground and the rubble. But there's nothing. I think that is a missed opportunity there. Overall, I liked the city, but if I'm honest, I thought it was a bit of a letdown. Maybe the double-edged sword of the matter is that since they've recently been driven out from the underground, they haven't had much time to establish their city there, and it's just void of much interesting character background stories because of that. I don't know. All of that being said, my overall grade for Rata Sum is a B-. And with that, our time together comes to a close. As promised at the beginning of the episode, I've got a lot of stuff to get through, a lot of big announcements to make as well. First and foremost, if you like what you hear and you'd like to keep traveling with me, be sure to follow the journey wherever you listen. Also, please comment, rate, and review. That helps us grow. Means a lot more than you can ever imagine. If you write a comment or review, I'll read it on the show, and Speaking of, we've got a new one.
What a nice surprise.
Today's comment comes from Galaxy Gur on our YouTube channel, who comments on episode 9, my favorite Guild Wars 2 podcast now. Can't wait for next episode. Galaxy Gur, I appreciate that comment. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Everyone, you can find me on social media at GWJourneyPod on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, and now the newly added Facebook and Blue Sky. That's right, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, Facebook, and Blue Sky. All the places you can find me there if you want to follow along, see what I post. Also, if you have any questions, comments, or corrections about the podcast, you can email me at gwjourneypod@gmail.com. Next, are you familiar with twitch.tv? Well, I very much am, because I've actually streamed on there for years off and on, and one of our announcements for today is I'm coming back. If you guys want to follow me, twitch.tv/Winkari, click the follow button, get notifications. I'm thinking in the next week or two, somewhere around there, I'm going to start streaming again. Guild Wars 2, of course, but would love to have you. Alongside that, a Discord, my friends. I had a Discord in the past, and I'm kind of reincarnating it, rebuilding it. And if you want to join the brand new Discord, you can find a link to that in the show notes of our podcast. And again, that Discord is for our podcast here and the stream at twitch.tv/Winkari. That's not all. Finally, biggest announcement of all is that the Guild Wars 2 podcast, The Journey, that's us, we've got a Patreon. Ladies and gentlemen, this show is a love letter to the game. It's a love letter to the fans, including all of you. But it does require a lot of me, time, energy, a little bit of money. But as you can imagine, things like researching, information gathering, recording, editing, recording voiceover, and all that jazz. So all that to say, if you like what you hear and you want to support this podcast, that is the number one way you can do so. Go to Patreon. GW Journey Pod is our Patreon. There are 3 different tiers you can look at with different benefits to sign up. I would love, love, love to have you again. In the show notes, you can find the link for all of these things, all the different social medias, the Twitch page, the Discord, and the new Patreon. Would love it if you guys would check that out. Special thanks to ArenaNet for our in-game music and sound, and to you for listening. I'll see you next time when the journey continues.